some of those injured players at Shady Side Academy are back. What's in the future for the Aliquippa Quips? The little guys in WPIAL are coming up big this season, and it's a big game this week between Ringgold and Southmoreland. What?
Who?
Welcome to another edition of the Varsity Extra podcast here on the Post-Gazette Sports YouTube channel. I'm Mike White of the Post-Gazette, along with my colleague Keith Barnes, high school coordinator at the Post-Gazette. We're here to talk about some big games, some hot topics. As we enter into the 5th week of the high school football season, we will be at the halfway point of the regular season after this week. A lot of things to talk about. But first, Keith, you've got something to say.
Absolutely. We're halfway through the season, but sports fans, when the game's on, there's only one spot you need to be. Dave & Buster's in Homestead. Catch every play on massive HD TVs, fuel up with fan favorites like wings and burgers, and keep the fun going with the latest games and ice-cold drinks. Whether it's happy hour, game day, or just a night out with friends, Dave & Buster's Homestead is where Pittsburgh goes to eat, drink, play, and watch sports. Proud sponsor of the Post-Gazette Sports WPIAL channel. Now it's time to open the Talking Bot segment. Let's start talking about Shady Side Academy again. Big win against Ligonier Valley, not unexpected, but that's amazing. Their doctors there must be incredibly good to be able to get them that healthy that fast after having to forfeit to Clairton because they didn't have enough players the week before.
Well, Keith, we talked about this last week, but we thought we should maybe bring it up again because, they forfeited to Clairton the week before, mighty Clairton. Even though Shady Side was, 2-0. And they claimed with two different numbers over 2 different days. They didn't have enough players, the healthy players, to really field a good team. The last statement they made was they only had 9 healthy players, 6 more freshmen who were first-year players. But, Keith, they played Ligonier Valley this week, and surprisingly, obviously Ligonier Valley isn't Clairton, and a lot of them got healthy. In fact, I saw I guess it was a student broadcast of the Shady Side Ligonier Valley game, and at the national anthem they were playing, I looked on the Shady Side sideline, and I counted about 28 players in uniform. Wow. 28 players in uniform. So a lot of them got back.
But 19 players got healthy in a week. I know kids are resilient, but
well, no, they said they had 9 that were healthy, and then 6 more who were freshmen who were first-year players. So 13, I guess, maybe got healthy at least. So and coincidentally, they blew out Ligonier Valley. But none of those kids were available the week before.
It's amazing how that happens.
But I think what's interesting here is will the WPIAL do anything? As we talked last week, first off, the WPIAL Board of Directors has a meeting Monday. You will be at it, but they will, if they discuss this at all, it will be an executive session, so we won't even know if it will be discussed. But we said it's on their rules that they send out to the schools before the season in accordance with the PIAA rules. If you do not let the WPIAL know of that you're going to forfeit, you could face penalties as much as up to forfeiture of championship rights. Now, and apparently they didn't let them know at first that they were going to forfeit. But question is, will the WPIAL do anything at all?
If they followed the letter of the law, they could. They certainly could. And I don't think this makes Shady
I don't think they'll do anything. I don't think they'll do anything. They might do the public censor, not the public censor. But go ahead.
But yeah, it's not a good look for the WPIAL, and it's really not a good look for Shady Side Academy. I don't know what the WPIAL is going to do at this point in time, if they're going to do anything. But the organization, it has an out. I mean, without calling the school liars and saying, "Oh yeah, your kids weren't hurt and you decided to play," you can go with the letter of the law and say, "Well, you didn't inform us first. You informed Clairton first that you were not going to play this game. So because of that, we're going to punish you." That's the workaround if they want to do it that way. Now, that's up to the WPIAL what they're going to do. I'm with you. I'm not sure they're going to do anything at all. But if they do, it's from everything that's coming out. And, there are rumors circulating that people are saying that, yes, they did duck Clairton and that was the intent. And if that's the case, then it sets a bad precedent if the WPIAL doesn't nip this in the butt and say, you can't do this. You can't just try to not play a team because they might beat you or you might lose. I mean, athletics and sports are about winning and losing and life lessons. At least that's what every single coach I ever talked to says. Now, if that's not the case and you just want to just avoid a situation or avoid a conflict or potentially being the team that upsets them and having that moment in the sun, then
but it's hard to
that's
think like that.
It's nothing like that. I mean, you're just walking away from
All right.
it.
Well,
terrible.
I guess we'll see. I still say they played Ligonier Valley last week on Friday with all those players. WPL should have made them play Clairton on Monday or Tuesday of this week. That's what I say. Anyway, or do it again next week. Make them play them next week. Anyway, let's move on. Second subject here, talking about. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
About the future of the Aliquippa Quips? All right, Keith. What say you? Now, we know a little bit more about them. They beat Mars last week after losing to Avonworth the week before, came on strong in the fourth quarter to get a win. Keith, is this team going to make it to the WPIAL championship again? I know that's down the road, but what say you? What's in the future for Aliquippa?
I think Aliquippa is good enough. I've seen TJ play. This is not the same Thomas Jefferson team that won the WPIAL last year. It certainly isn't. And Avonworth just steamrolled them by 27. Last time they got beat by that many points was Montour in the 2023 quarterfinals. So this isn't the Thomas Jefferson team that won last year. McKeesport, even without Kimon Spell, had the lead on them going into the final minute of regulation of that game. I mean, Thomas Jefferson scored 2 touchdowns to make it look a little bit better, but the Jaguars they're not number one. McKeesport, you don't know what they quite have yet because Kimon Spell's only played 1 game and a few plays here and there because of his ankle injury. So, it depends on his health. If he's healthy, I think McKeesport's the team to beat. Aliquippa's moving up to number 2. I think that with beating Mars, losing to Avonworth isn't that bad of a loss considering what they did to TJ last week, because I think Avonworth's just amazing this year. And McKeesport's still out there. So, yeah, I think McKeesport and Aliquippa could meet in the final this year for sure.
I would say Aliquippa gets to the finals again.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise if they win it, even though this is not a team that is as good as any of their recent teams. About the future, what class will they be in? But they threat running back that they have had for so many. I mean, they have more 4,000-yard rushers than any team in WPL history. And this JJ Work is a hard-running kid, but they still have that breakaway threat. But here's the thing. I don't think 4A is all that strong.
No,
if Keeman Spell plays, McKeesport's really good. They're really good. I think they might be the team to beat. But he's been hurt. I think he'll be back. But Aliquippa, wouldn't surprise me if they got there. Wouldn't surprise me if they didn't get there. But I think they will get there simply because 4A is not that good. And I still think Aliquippa is decent. Now, where will they be in the future, Keith? Here's a little update on them. It's about what classification they will be in. Next year, the end of the 2-year cycle is this year. Next year, where will they be? What class? Well, they were moved up under the competition classification formula to 4A, and there was that thing. They were going to be moved up to 5A, and they won a court case. Here's the bottom line. If they make it to the WPIAL championship, they will stay in 4A this next year for the next 2 years. If they do not make it to the WPIAL championship, they will move down to 3A. And the reason is the formula, try not to make it too complicated, deals with number of transfers, minute 5 in the last 2 years, and success points. They have no success points right now. If they get to the WPL finals, they'll have 1. So if you have 5 transfers and 1 success point, you stay in the classification you were in the previous cycle, which was in 4A. Those are the new rules from the PIAA, regardless of Aliquippa's enrollment. It goes by what you played last. It doesn't go by your enrollment. So they will either be in 4A next year or 3A.
That could be interesting if they move down to 3A, because then you're still going to have Avonworth is still going to be a good team. You're going to have Central Valley. They're going to be probably in that Western Hills Conference. That'll be kind of interesting to see. And then you're still going to have Amani Christian, because Amani Christian just looks like they're just going to keep reloading year after year after year. So it could be interesting to see what happens to them if they end up dropping down to 3A. If they stay in 4A, it's going to be McKeesport, Aliquippa, TJ again, probably next year.
All right, let's move on. Next segment, talking about a new rule in the PIAA, which really came from the courts, and you covered this and wrote about this. Explain it.
Basically what happens is if you are at a faith-based school, like if you were at a parochial school or a private school in a certain school district, and
No, not a private school.
Let me say that. If you're at a private school or parochial school and your school does not have a specific sport, you can play in that sport at the public school where you would have attended. So say you go to Sarah Catholic and you live in North Versailles and Sarah Catholic doesn't have a field hockey team, and you want to play field hockey, and East Allegheny has a field hockey team, you could play for their field hockey team if you can try out and make the team. That's what it means. It has zero, and it will not affect the enrollment. It will not affect classification. It's not like a co-op, where a co-op would affect classification and affect the enrollment numbers. In this instance, the individual can play for their home district, provided that their faith-based school does not have that sport offered at the school.
So, and which I find kind of odd, though, it doesn't pertain to schools that are private schools like Sewickley Academy or Shady Side Academy or schools like that. It's faith-based, which are basically Catholic schools. But here's my opinion, and we'll give our opinions real fast on it. I understand the rule. I mean, if you're a charter school student and you live in North Hills and you go to Lincoln Park, and Lincoln Park doesn't have baseball, you can play baseball at North Hills. So if you can do that at a charter school,
is it faith-based though?
No, I'm saying if you're the way it is now, I'm saying
the way it is now,
Lincoln Park's not a faith-based school.
No,
it's a charter school. I'm just saying as an example, if you live in North Hills, go to Lincoln Park, and Lincoln Park doesn't have baseball, you can play baseball at North Hills. So, example, Aquinas Academy out in Hampton, they can have kids go there from a number of places. They don't have a football team. If you live in North Allegheny, you go to Aquinas, you can play football at North Allegheny.
Yes.
I would say two things. If the charter schools can do it and the cyber schools, the students, then why not the faith-based schools? But I don't know why you don't include private schools also. But on the other hand, you know what, Keith? Yeah, I mean, because you're giving more kids a chance to compete. But on the other hand, I'm going to tell you right now, and there's a little bit, I feel this way a little bit. There are going to be people out there and parents out there, and I don't disagree with them. You know what? You don't go to that school, that Catholic school. You made a choice to go there for whatever your reasons are. And you know what? Now you're going to come and take a spot away maybe from someone that goes to the actual school. I don't know. I'm not in a big agreement with that. And you know what? Here's the other thing. You know what? Our school isn't good enough for you to go to our school. No, it's not good enough for you. But all of a sudden in sports, now we're good enough for you. You can play here. I don't know. That rubs me a little bit the wrong way.
Tax argument though. You're still paying your taxes to the district, so you should be able to. No, you are paying your taxes to the district. Yes.
So, but still, playing a sport is a privilege. It is not a right.
Absolutely, but the opportunity should be there, and that's. I don't know. I'm ambivalent on this, and as somebody who went to a faith-based high school who didn't have the sport that I wanted to play, and I would have been able to play at the public school in my district without attending it, I probably would have done that. So, from my perspective, I'm going to say my personal perspective, I'm all for it.
Well, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, there is a little bit of a double standard there from the people. You know what? We're not good enough for you. We're not good enough for you. You don't like it for some reason. Oh, but it comes to sports. Oh, now I'm good enough for you. We're supposed to accept you with us. I don't know. Just my feeling. Just my feeling. Let's move on. Next subject. Keith, what are we talking about?
Let's talk a little bit about the small schools and what they've been able to do this year. It's kind of interesting when you look at some of these teams. Monessen, 4-0 this year. Avella, which used to play Sarah Catholic for the best of the Eagles in the bottom of the WPIAL, is undefeated at 4-0, and Cornell is undefeated at 4-0. And to put them into perspective, just how amazing it is.
I think Cornell's 3-1.
I think Cornell's 3-1. I think you're right. But to put in perspective just how good these teams have been this year, Cornell has never won a WPIAL title, and Avella and Monessen both won their last titles in 1961. So it's been 64 years since both of these teams have won a WPIAL title. And think about that. All of a sudden, these teams they're having good years, and good for them. I think it's good to have new names in there.
Wait a second.
New contenders.
Monessen hasn't won a WPIAL title since 61.
That's correct.
I thought they won one under Jack Scarvell. I may be wrong.
Unless the WPIAL website's wrong, because I looked it up.
All right. Well, the thing that's interesting about those three is they are the three smallest schools in the WPIAL. Cornell in football. Cornell's the smallest in WPIAL football. Next is Avella's next, I believe. No, Monessen's next, and then Avella. They're the three smallest schools. Now, I know Avella hasn't really beaten anybody. Their opponents have a combined 1 or 2 wins. But you know what? Ryan Cicchini, what he has done there as coach, years when he has had 13, 14 players on a team.
Yes.
I remember one year writing a story that they played a game. They went and got a cheerleader that came over and played on their team. She played a little bit just so they would have 13 or 14 players. I think it's great. It's a great story. I'm a believer in, I don't know, these small schools in sports, man, they should go with co-ops more often. And, you know, if they could, but it's nice to see some of these small schools having some success.
Absolutely. And let's move on to our next topic. Let's go talking about, is the WPL more offensive this year? There's a lot of offense. Last 2 weeks, two games, over 100 points total scored. I mean, is there more offense in the WPL this year? What do you think?
Well, these teams are going point counterpoint. This is just there's more offense in the WPIAL in high school football in general in the last 15 to 20 years. And we do have, and it's probably more so in the last 10 years. And the reason is it's the way football is going. It's the way college is going, the way pro is going. Even, and I've done stories on this. Scoring is up in high school football in the last 20 years. And the reason is because the offense is the way they're playing. You've got the know-how-to offenses, team signaling in plays, running in a play every one, sending in a play every time. So you got more plays, which is going to be more chances to score, and you've got a lot more passing. So teams are throwing the ball downfield and a chance for bigger plays and more points. And it's just a style of football that's making it more offensively aesthetic, let's say.
I think it kind of goes off what we were talking about last week with whether or not the WPL's leading rusher this year could come from a losing team. And I said it was because of the fact that more teams were going to these high-octane passing games. You've got more quarterbacks working out of the pistol and the shotgun than under center. You don't have these 3-yard and a cloud of dust teams a lot of times. The offenses are a lot more sophisticated. So, yeah, I can definitely see the scoring going up. And eventually, at some point in time, defenses are going to have to adjust. And they will. It's going to be a snapback point. But for right now, the offenses are going to have their way, and that's kind of how it's going to play out.
All right, that's it for our first segment of Talking Back. We've got more, Keith, coming up, right? What do we got?
Oh, we got the Post-Gazette Fantasy League. And, oh, my, did I take a beating last week? And we got our shining stars, players who are just lighting it up right now during the regular season. And for Mike White, I'm Keith Barnes. We'll be back in a few. I'm Keith Barnes of the Post-Gazette, and I'm here with my esteemed colleague, Mike White, and we're here to talk about the shining stars in the WPIAL. Mike, who do you have this week as your shining star?
It's my man, Stretch Armstrong again. He was stretched all over the field for Hopewell. They lost 51-50 second game this year with over 100 points in successive weeks. But Stretch Armstrong, James Armstrong, a sophomore from Hopewell High School. Keith, what he did, this is one of the best offensive games in WPIAL history. You can make that statement. I don't know what number 2 or number 3 is. I do know what number 1 is. I was at it. Alex Smith of Keystone Oaks in an unbelievable game 9 years ago had 653 yards against Beaver. And Darius Wise had over 500 yards in that game. But James Armstrong, what he did last week, 22 carries, 267 yards. Completed 14 of 26 for 349. 616 yards offense. Stretch Armstrong. Muscle up. Flex. He now has 1,344 yards offense for the season. Keith, could this guy be on his way to 3,000 yards offense? And he's only a sophomore. My shining star, James Armstrong.
We're going to see what he can do this week when they face.
Oh, yeah.
Let's put it that way. But not to take anything away from what that lefty quarterback has been able to do. I mean, he's been absolutely incredible. What's funny is you mentioned those two games. Both of them were against Beaver. Hopewell was against Beaver, and so was the Keystone Oaks game. So that's pretty.
Beaver's got some defensive issues, I think.
They might have some defensive issues, but they win those games. They won both.
No, they didn't. They didn't beat North Catholic.
Keystone Oaks.
Oh, Beaver. That's right. The game before, the week before, is North Catholic Quaker Valley. Yes,
it was North Catholic Quaker Valley. But yeah, Beaver beat
Keystone Oaks because of Darius Wise.
Offensive games. So it's interesting. They're able to pull out those big games when the other team's doing, when the other player's doing such great things. My shining star, Jeffery Thompson of Clairton. I mean, this past week, he was 18 of 23 for 391 yards and 3 touchdowns in a win against a Greensboro Central Catholic team that was expected to challenge them for the Eastern Conference title. I mean, I said this last year about him. If his arm wasn't hurt in that WPIAL championship game against Fort Cherry, I think Clairton would have won that game by 2 touchdowns. I really do. They are so much a better team when he is healthy. And so far this year, he's been outstanding. He's leading that Bears offense and just doing some great things for them. That I think when he's healthy, he takes them from a team that can make it to the WPIAL championship game to a team that can win a state title. That's what a difference maker he is, and I think he's extremely underrated for what he does for them.
Hey Keith, I just thought of this. Isn't there an old steel mill in Clairton called the Edgar Thompson Works?
Yes.
Well, at Clairton, Jeffery Thompson works.
Jeffery Thompson works every time.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
All right, let's move on. Post-Gazette Fantasy League time. Here we go.
Mike killed me again.
How many teams are winless in the WPIAL? There's, I can count them, I guess. A lot. And wait, I got one more team that's winless. Keith Barnes, 0-4 in Post-Gazette Fantasy League. Last week, he was the Baldwin of the Post-Gazette Fantasy League.
Wow.
You gave up.
I went to Sarah Catholic, and they're winless too. So, it is what it is.
You scored only 24 points. 24 points. I had 59. And 22 of your points were from Zahir Ismaili from Westinghouse. The rest of your team, I won't mention who they are, gave you 2 points. My team gave me 54. Joey Felitsky, Smoking Joe Felitsky, 30 points. Deacon DeHote from Jeff Morgan, 18. Preston Simcoe caught a touchdown pass from North Catholic, 6. And Xavier Jackson, a kicker, gave me 5. So I rolled 59-24. All right, who we got this week? Who you got?
You go first.
Who's next? I'm going first. Boy, I am going to go. I got 1 or 2 guys. I'm going Kamani Brown, quarterback, Jeanette High School. He's doing a job running. He's doing a job passing. They play this week. Big game, actually, at Leechburg, but he's enough. He's going to put some points on the board for me. That game is going to be colored brown.
I'm going to go with the player we've been kind of holding off on.
All the leaves are brown. All leaves are brown. All the points are brown. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
My outlook is gray, but I'm going Matt Sig this week. We haven't taken him. He needs 3 touchdowns, 3 to break the WPIAL all-time record. And I think this is the week he does it. He's going to be in front of the home crowd. This is going to be a big game for him, and I think he's going to have a breakout. It was interesting about Matt Sig, and nobody's noticed. Over the years, he's been more of a runner scoring some other way rather than throwing the ball. This year, he actually has more touchdown passes than he does touchdown runs. So it's interesting that he's been developed into more of a passer this year than a runner. But I think this week he's going to do a lot more running, and I think he's going to break that record in front of the home crowd at Fort Cherry.
He's now the 9th leading rusher in WPIAL history, by the way. All right, moving on to running back. You're first, running back. Who's your pick?
I'm going with Caden Levy of Riverview. He's got 5 touchdowns this year, and they've got Springdale this week. And Springdale's given up at least 35 points every week this year. They have one of the longest losing streaks in the WPL, longer than mine, believe it or not. And I think I've seen him play this year, and I think they're going to have their way with Springdale, and I think he's going to have a really big game.
Mine is going to be a guy that's showing some bark now as a running back. I'm talking about Deron Barksdale, and it's a position switch at Steel Valley. He's a Pitt recruit, defensive back, or maybe even a slot receiver. He had been the quarterback for Steel Valley the first 3 games. They moved him. Hey, Ray Brazo, the mature, crafty veteran. Great move. They moved him to running back last week. Gigantic game. They blew out defending champion South Park. They play Waynesburg this week. Deron Barksdale's going to run for more touchdowns. He's going to be my man this week at running back. All right, receiver. I am going to go. Now, there aren't Olsen twins at Armstrong, but there are Olsen brothers, and they've all been very good. And I'm going with Quentin Olsen, wide receiver for Armstrong. Now the leading receiver in the WPIAL, has had some big games recently. His brother was a quarterback. His other brother was a receiver who went to IMG Academy. He's now playing, I think, in the Patriot League. And now he's the leading receiver in WPIL. They play Latrobe this week. He's going to get me a couple touchdowns. Quentin Olsen.
I'm going with Scoop Smith from Woodland Hills.
Who do they play?
Woodland Hills?
Yeah, who do they play?
I actually have that.
Never mind.
I can't read my own handwriting today. It's one of those days. But no, I'm going with Scoop Smith. I think they're going to have another big game this week. They showed a lot last week in beating Penn Trafford. He had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. Didn't even kick it to him. They just lateraled to him and say, let him go. So I think Scoop's going to have another big game this week.
Can they get him the ball more on offense, though? Please.
Yeah.
Oh.
That is a problem.
All right, we're going on to kicker. You going first?
I'm going first. I'm going to take Jeremy Rose from Seton LaSalle. They got Carlinton this week, and I think they're going to load up the points. So he's going to have some opportunities.
I am going to go with a Mohawk warrior by the name of Andrew Lloyd.
Nice.
Wait a second. I just thought wasn't one of the Wright brothers, Andrew Lloyd Wright, that flew the plane?
It was Wilbur and Orville.
Oh, what am I thinking of Andrew Lloyd?
You're thinking Andrew Lloyd Webber. And if we want to sit here and start singing Phantom of the Opera, I can do that, but I don't think anybody wants to hear it.
Okay. I don't know why that's in my mind. All right, Andrew Lloyd of Mohawk. He's been kicking some field goals, kicking some extra points. So they play Beaver Falls this week. They should run up some points. I'm going Andrew Lloyd.
It's amazing how Beaver Falls has fallen so quickly, too.
Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's a story. Who did you pick? Who was your kicker?
My kicker was the kicker from Seton LaSalle.
Okay. So, all right, there you got it. There's our Post-Gazette Fantasy League segment and our Shining Stars segment. We're not done yet, though, Keith. One more segment here on the Post-Gazette Sports YouTube channel here on Varsity Extra Podcast, sponsored by Dave & Buster's. We've got coming up. What have we got coming up? We got our pick six predictions, big games. And where are they now? I've got a former Pitt player who was in the NFL on a practice team and where he is now.
I got one, too. Isn't that amazing? Former Pitt player. All right. We'll be back in a couple. I'm Keith Barnes of the Post-Gazette with my colleague Mike White, and we're back here on the Post-Gazette Varsity Extra Podcast, and it's up to our Pick Six segment. 6 games, we pick the winners. Mike, let's start off this one with Hopewell at Avonworth. I coming into last week, I would have thought this would have been the premier game, and it may still be. But Hopewell, after that 51-50 Van Halen type loss against Beaver, you got to wonder what they have. And Avonworth coming off that huge win against Thomas Jefferson this past week. Mike, what do you got?
Well, I knew Avonworth was good, and I saw them in person last week. They're really good, Keith. And Bill Charpak said this. I said it to him. I don't see a weakness on their team. I really don't. And he agreed with me. And the only thing even Duke Johncourt, their coach, said is depth. They maybe don't have a lot of depth if somebody gets hurt, but you know what? A lot of high school teams don't have a lot of depth, but they're really good. I am so interested. It's a great, I think Avonworth definitely wins a game, but to see what James Armstrong, the super soft stretch Armstrong, what he does against the Avonworth defense, which is very good also. They were really good last week against Thomas Jefferson. I think Armstrong will have a decent game again, but no way they score enough to beat Avonworth.
Coming into the season, I thought that the Western Hills Conference was going to be, these teams were just going to beat each other up. And I didn't think anybody was going to be able to get out of it unscathed. But after seeing what Avonworth's been able to do the first few weeks of the season, I'm rethinking that. I think they're going to run the table and they're going to win this week against Hopewell. I think they have too much with the great running game and with Luke O'Neill. I just don't see them. I don't see them losing a game the rest of the year, at least not until the state playoffs. They're just that good. And well, let me say this: they still have to play Monty Christian too. But
yes,
that's going to be that might be the final at this point.
All right, next game here on Pick Six segment. Don't forget we've got our Where Are They Now segment at the end of this. Well, let's go with who we go next. North Allegheny at Norwin, a 6A contest. Sure. Norwin, they have a nice record. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2017, but they look like they might be headed to those playoffs this year. Might be a changing of the guard kind of in 6A in those spots 3 and 4, and they face a North Allegheny team that's undefeated. Who do you got?
Last week I picked Hempfield. I thought they were going to give them a little bit of a fight, maybe have a
not very
bit of
smart
against North Allegheny, but it is what it is. But Norwin coming out and beating Seneca Valley 56-13 last week. I mean, I knew Seneca Valley was struggling a little bit, but to do that to them was kind of eye-opening. I think North Allegheny is going to win this game. I really do. I think the one thing that when I talked to Art Walker after the game, he said the one thing about Hempfield coming in at 3-0 was that they were focused. Last year when they played Hempfield, it was 14-14 at halftime, and they weren't focused because they took them lightly. You go against Norwin this week, they are not taking this team lightly at all. They're not looking at them as a team that was 2-8 last year. They're looking at them as a 3-1 and a potential playoff team, and a team they could face down the road potentially again in the Class 6A playoffs. So I think North Allegheny is really going to have its way with Norwin this week. I think the Knights still have a ways to go, even with Tristan Tavares playing really well at quarterback. But Brady Brinkley's playing really well, and I think North Allegheny is just going to be able to pull it out.
Tristan Tavares is one of the better players in 6A that nobody knows about. Really good, but he's not enough to beat North Allegheny. Their defense is coming on, and they're playing better. It's headed for North Allegheny Central again. Although I think Norwin is better than people think, and I think maybe even better than Hempfield. But I'm taking North Allegheny also. All right, next game.
Also, game Tristan Tavares got hurt in last year too. He got hurt against last year too. So this is going to be interesting to see how he reacts to that North Allegheny team.
All right, next game, South Allegheny at South Park. South Allegheny, the Gladiators. Man, when have things been this good at South Allegheny? I mean, last year we wrote about them. They made the playoffs last year and won a playoff game. But I mean, they're ranked in the top 5 in the state now. Things haven't been this good since the 70s when they last won that WPIAL title with Dave Opfar. And but they play South Park, the defending WPIAL champion. Wow. I think everyone's eyes were open last week. South Park were on the road, and everybody thought that's a decent game against Steel Valley. They got blown out by Steel Valley. So who are you picking?
I'm thinking South Allegheny. I think you're right. That was an eye-opener last week with what Steel Valley was able to do against them. And I think when you've got the Cook brothers cooking, they got something in that kitchen going really well in right now. So
I think that kitchen.
Absolutely. I think they're going to be eating. They're going to be scooping it up, and cooks are going to be cooking. And I think they're going to be able to take it to South Park this week. I mean, South Park may be the defending champs, but South Allegheny's just got something going right now.
Did you ever watch that series, The Bear?
Yes.
About cooking. And that's what it said, South Allegheny. Everybody's constantly saying, is there a touchdown? Yes, Cook. Is there a touchdown? Yes, Cook. Is there a big play? Yes, Cook. You got the freshman quarterback, Cook, and you've got the receiver, his brother, the senior, Drew Cook, one of the better athletes in WPIAL. I think they're going to win this game also, although I don't think it will be a blowout. I think South Park got their eyes open last week. I think they'll rebound a little bit, but I think South Allegheny wins the game. All right, next one, Monessen at Fort Cherry. Monessen's undefeated, but I'll go first on this one. They aren't on Fort Cherry's level. Matt Sig gets the WPIAL record for career touchdowns. He moves up on the WPIAL rushing list, and Fort Cherry moves to 5-0.
I thought this could have been a better game until last week, when Monessen only beat Sarah Catholic 13-6. And Sarah has, this is a Sarah Catholic team that got blown out by Clairton 79-0. And if you think Clairton beating Sarah Catholic 79-0 was bad, imagine what Fort Cherry would be able to do. If Monessen can only beat Sarah by 7 points, Fort Cherry's going to have their way. Take the Rangers, take Matt Sig. He's got the record this week.
All right. How about this one? A big game in pick 6. Who would have thought this? We're picking Avella in a big game. California at Avella. You had asked me in a text message, when was the last time Avella started the season 4-0? Because they've been so bad for so long, even though Ryan Cicchini, I think, does a great job there. It actually was 2013. They started 6-0. They ended up 6-4. No, I'm sorry. They started 5-0. They ended up 6-4. And now they play California, which is usually a pretty good team in the Tri-County South. Thing about Avella, though, I think their opponents have one win between them. Hey, great job what you're doing, Eagles, but you're not beating California. California wins.
I'd really like to take Avella. I really would, but I'm not going to. You got to take California.
Hard to, yeah.
I think Avella's had a really nice streak to run the season. They might still make the playoffs. You don't know, but I think when against California, I just don't think they have enough to be able to beat the Trojans this week.
All right, last one.
Who would have thought this one too?
Ringgold and Southmoreland in a big game. What?
Seriously.
I'm falling off my chair. Ringgold and Southmoreland in one of our big games. What is this world turning to? Well, Rams and Scotties, big game. 3-1 Ringgold, Southmoreland 4-0. How about this? Southmoreland, the last time they were 4-0 was 1991.
Wow.
And then you've got Ringgold. This is a team that won only 11 games in the previous 8 seasons. They're 3-1. It's only non-conference, but I like it. Some new
I like it too.
Yeah. So who do you like? Who are you picking?
I'm going to go with Ringgold. I'm going to go because both of these programs have struggled for so long. I'm going to go old school. I'm going to take Joe Montana over Russ Grimm. That's how it is. I'm going to take Ringgold.
I'm going to take Ringgold also. Amani Ward. All the stats aren't in yet when we tape this, but he might be the leading rusher in the WPIAL now. If he's not one, he's probably 2. And it's been a great story. The last leading rusher they've had in the WPIAL was Robert Heller, who is their coach now, first-year coach. Ringgold's 3-1. Southmoreland's 4-0. Hey, great, but I'm going to go the Rams. All right, that's our Pick 6 segment. Wrapping things up here on the Varsity Extra Show podcast with our Where Are They Now? Some former athletes, coaches, anybody. Where are they now? Keith, who do you have for Where Are They Now?
I've got Tyler Boyd for you. And, for anybody who doesn't
Is he not on a team? He's still not on an NFL team
yet. That's the thing. He's playing the wait and see game to see if anybody needs a wide receiver come on. He's training. He's trying to keep himself in shape. And hoping that somebody gives him a 10th season in the NFL. But last time I saw him, he was at the vacation in Clairton for Tyler Boyd Stadium when they had the big press conference and, everything was, and they opened it up and he was actually in the press box for the opening game against Imani Christian for a little while. He was sitting right behind me. So, it was nice to see Tyler. I remember him when he was a player and obviously at Clairton and at Pitt and in the NFL, and always nice to see players like that coming back and giving back to the community and not forgetting their roots.
My Where Are They Now is Mr. Todd Thomas of Beaver Falls, a 2009 graduate of Beaver Falls and a former Post-Gazette Athlete of the Year and one of the better two-sport athletes. People forget how good he was, really, in the last 15 years or so. He scored over 2,000 points in basketball, and he was a football player. He was a running back, went on to play linebacker at the University of Pittsburgh, and was on the Jacksonville Jaguars practice squad for a year. So really a great two-sport athlete. And I could have predicted all that when that kid was in 5th grade playing for Mike White on the Pittsburgh Jocks AAU basketball team, along with TJ McConnell. And the next year we had, I can't think of his, he was a former Pitt assistant coach. His son played there. But Todd is now living in the South Allegheny School District. He has 2 children. Him and his wife have 2 children. He now works out. He works out kids, athletes at all levels, high school level, help them become better athletes and conditioning and things. And that's what he is doing nowadays. But he is a big South Allegheny fan. I saw him in Hershey's Chocolate World last March. Wow. When South Allegheny was playing in the state basketball championship. I heard this, Mr. White, and I turned around and it was Todd Thomas, but he is there. He's involved with the South Allegheny athletes. So Todd Thomas, where are you now? South Allegheny here in Pittsburgh. Really, really good 2-sport athlete, Keith.
Well, that's always good to hear. I mean, Todd was a really great player. Loved watching him play. All right. Well, that is our Varsity Extra podcast for this week. And please tune in to and subscribe to our YouTube channel and the Post-Gazette High School Sports WPIAL channel. It's some good content. You get some post-game interviews. You get this. You get our athletes of the week. And it's just been a great experience so far as we've kind of tried to build this from the ground up. What do you say, Mike?
You said it all, Keith. You had trouble saying it, but you said it all.
I had a little bit of trouble saying it, trying to come off the cuff and all that. But yeah, for Mike White, I'm Keith Barnes. Thank you again to Dave & Buster's for sponsoring the Post-Gazette Varsity Extra podcast, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.